Hey guys, it's Sam, and today I'm answering your questions for my 25,000 subscriber Q&A. If you could have one mythological creature as a pet, what would it be? I think the cat, Mogget, from the Sabriel A Porcine trilogy by Garth Nix. He's a talking cat. He's actually like a sort of evil spirit entity that's trapped in a cat, and he's amazing. He's kind of like Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. He's really great. What made you start doing book videos? I've talked about this briefly before, but for people that are new, I'll talk about it again. I wanted to get on the, YouTube kind of community. I wanted to do something. I watched a lot of different, gaming videos and makeup videos and stuff like that, but I didn't want to do anything like that. I didn't want to do gaming, and I didn't want to do makeup because the beauty community is just kind of like, So when I discovered Booktube, I was like, this is my thing. I love books. I have no one to talk about books with. This is my thing. So that's why I decided to start making book videos, to talk to other people about books, because I didn't have anybody in my normal life that was reading the kind of books that I was reading and that was reading at the rate that I was reading, so I needed somebody to gush with, basically. What does the room you film in look like? And I'm actually going to show you because it's a fucking disaster. So I do want to usually it's a little, that's a lie. Sometimes it's a little cleaner than this. Usually it's just a dumping ground for a lot of stuff because it's my office space, makeup space, and book space, and then book shit is everywhere, and then some work shit is everywhere. So this is what you see, and then that's where I do my other personal videos, and there's a bunch of book shit, and there's a bunch of work shit, and there's a closet, and there's my makeup thing. It's bad. I'm not proud of it. One day I'll have a really cute office, but today is not that day. And it's cute, the foundation's cute, but it's a mess because this is just where we don't have room for that. Put it in the office. That's what happens. If you ran out of shelf room, would your partner let you extend it to the rest of your house? Yeah, but I really wouldn't want to because these are my books and I want them here, so there is room to kind of wrap around. And I am getting better about consolidating my books, and things that I'm legitimately not going to read, I'm getting rid of. So I think I could actually afford to have a few more shelves, and I will have a few more shelves in the future, probably extending the rest of this wall, but I would be able to pare down enough, I think, that I wouldn't need to extend it to the rest of the house. Again, I'm open to doing that, but it's what do I put in the rest of the house then? Do I put the books that I don't really care about so that they're not because these are all the books that I really love, but then the books I don't really care about are being displayed for the public, not that we have a lot of people over, but for people to see, but they don't actually represent me? I don't know. It would be a conundrum. Someone asked, what is the most satisfying Hades and Persephone retelling you've read? Which book had the most elements that you like to see? And I hate to even say this, but it is Akamath by Sarah J. Maas. Not because it is a Hades Persephone retelling directly, but that it does have the elements that I like to see of Hades' character being pretty good, just being a little misunderstood and, really caring for his people, and them having a really good relationship and being really equal to each other, and her being a little bit more of a firecracker, being more stubborn and being really powerful, and if not more powerful than him. And yeah, a lot of those elements. So it pains me to even say that, and because it's not a Hades Persephone retelling, it's not a direct retelling, obviously. It's just inspired by. So I have yet to find my perfect actual, these are Hades and Persephone retellings. I'm still on the lookout, and I know you guys always recommend some to me, and I know most of the ones you guys recommend me, I do know. It's just a matter of getting around to them and stuff, because there's a lot of books that I have to read, but right now Akamath is has the most elements that I do like seeing, even though it's not a direct Hades Persephone retelling. Somebody asked, what would you do with $1 million? I would do a lot of boring adult stuff. I'd pay off my car, I'd pay off my student loans, I'd pay off my medical bills. Yeah. I would probably go maybe buy a house and put stuff in it that I actually really want. Look, I'm not saving any of it. And then save the rest of it. Which book do you think would make a good video game, and what video game do you think would make an excellent book? Book to video game, man. Oh! Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. Definitely. Definitely that'd be an amazing video game. And video game to make excellent book? Oh look, I'm just gonna talk about freaking BioWare games, because since they have all the characters and all the character interactions, those are the ones that I most think of. I think the Assassin's Creed books would be pretty good too if you don't have that whole element of the modern day stuff also mixing in. I guess you have to have that element, kind of, but if you could just have the assassin stuff back in the day, which is what we all care about anyway, that'd be good. If you could only pick one fandom to be a part of, what would you pick, Mass Effect or Buffy? That hurts me. I think that I would pick Mass Effect. Hold. Because Buffy has been a huge part of my life, and it is a part of my life, and it will always be a part of my life, and I have videos coming up about Buffy, and Buffy is everything to me. But I do not believe that I'm actively part of the fandom anymore, because the fandom has kind of died. It's still around, and it's a nostalgic part of things, but I'm not actively anything. It's not currently ongoing. I'm not looking at fan fiction, I'm not writing fan fiction, I'm not making fan videos, I'm not doing fan edits or anything like that. I am actively pursuing the Mass Effect fandom. You know, like, I read the fic, I look at, like, the fan videos, I rewatch things about the actual canon trilogy, I am actively replaying the games, I'm really looking forward to Mass Effect Andromeda, so I'm in that. So if I had to, like, pick one, whether it's the one that, like, there's a huge part of my life, but also I'm not actively in, or the one I'm actively in, I'm choosing the Mass Effect actively in. I know you love Mass Effect, but do you have any other favorite video games, any recommendations? I kind of briefly mentioned them. I love the Assassin's Creed franchise. It's sloppy sometimes, but I think the trilogy that is 2, so it's 2, Brotherhood and Revelations, that's an amazing, like, trilogy within the series, and I like the most recent one, which I'm forgetting the name of. But it's like a steampunky kind of Victorian setting. I also really love Black Flag, which is the game before the most recent one, and that was all a pirate one. So I think that's a really good franchise. I grew up on the Need for Speed games, so I don't play them anymore, but I've had a desire to play them recently, so if I could find some, that'd be amazing. But I really recommend the Assassin's Creed games. I also really like the Witcher series. Witcher 3 is an amazing game. There are some elements of, like, you have to get over with, like, there's some, like, misogyny in that world, and there's just, like, some shitty things and, like, male gaze things happening, and there's not the plethora of characters that you get with, like, a BioWare game, like, you know, Dragon Age or Mass Effect, but you still get really awesome characters, and, like, some of my favorite characters are in that series, like, Yennefer is someone I aspire to be, honestly. I also really like the Final Fantasy games, but those are very hit or miss for people. Some people really love them, and they're really over the top, and some people don't like them. If you like anime at all, you'd probably like the Final Fantasy series. They're very cinematic and epic and beautiful. The newest one's about to come out. I also really love the God of War franchise because it's based around, like, Greek mythology, and a new one is about to come out for that as well, and that is Norse mythology coming in, which is just like, yes! So it's basically like Skyrim and God of War combined. It's gonna be awesome. And then there's some other games coming up that I'm really interested in, like Horizon Zero Dawn. Looks fucking awesome. I haven't played it yet, obviously. It's a new, like, new release thing coming out, but I think it's coming out beginning of next year, and it's a kind of like prehistoric looking society, but it's actually our future, and there are, like, robot creatures, tech kind of creatures that have, like, now populated the earth because computers have kind of, like, taken over, like, tech has kind of taken over, but it's in this, like, animalistic, like, way. Looks awesome. If it's not, and you're coming back here in this video, like, years later and it turns out to be a shit game, it looks awesome now. Really excited about that. Who are your favorite YouTubers and what kind of videos do you like to watch? Recently, I have a mix of videos that I watch from, like, different communities. So I watch booktube, beauty videos, and a lot of, like, cooking videos. So as far as cooking, I like Hot for Food. They're a vegan channel. I like Edgy Veg. They're also a vegan channel. I myself am vegetarian, but I like watching, like, vegan channels because if I can make a dish vegan and it tastes good, I'll do that. As far as beauty videos, I watch a lot of, like, really popular people. So I watch Mears and Hayes. She's pretty good. She has kind of, like, this, like, grunge aesthetic. I really like her. I really like Jaclyn Hill. I know a lot of people are like, blah, Jaclyn, but I still, like, really love her, and I just like watching her. She's really fun. And then other booktubers, I've done a ton of shout out videos, so I'm not going to talk about everybody here because I feel like I'd forget people, so I'll link my shout out videos down below for booktubers that I love because I have so many favorites with them as well. What made you pick up Leigh Bardugo's books in the first place, since I know she's your fave? I think I kept hearing about them on Booktube, and people kept talking about it, and then I originally wasn't sure if I would like them because I thought that they might be scary for some reason. I think maybe people just said The Darkling, and I was like, because I'm a baby. And yeah, I just kept hearing about them, and then someone said it was, like, fantasy Russia inspired, because it's not Russia, it's Russia inspired. So when I heard that, I was like, I think I need to get into this. And then I buddy read it with Sarah Jane from The Book Life and Kristen from What's Happening, and the rest is history. Have I ever shipped 2 characters who come from different books series, and who would they be if I did? I really haven't. Like, I can match people up, but I've never, like, directly been like, oh, I really ship that. Like, I'm trying to look around and see if I can think of anybody. But typically speaking, like, I ship people with the people they're in the series with. So, like, I could think of ones that would work well together, but I've never actively shipped them. If you could switch 2 characters from 2 different books, this is kind of related. Which characters would you switch? I think Kaz and Locke from The Lies of Locke Lamora, I would switch because they're a lot of the same, and it'd be really cool to see them in their different worlds because really Locke is just a more advanced, older Kaz. Like, he's a whole other level. What is the darkest, most disturbing novel you've ever read? Probably The Monk, and I'm forgetting who it's by, but I read that in high school. I don't read dark and disturbing books, guys, like at all, if you guys haven't noticed. I read like darker fantasy and stuff like that, but like actually disturbing. But The Monk. Number one most hated character, number one most loved character. I think my most hated character is Travis Maddox from the Beautiful Disaster series, because he sucks. And I don't have most love because I love so many of my babies. What are your favorite tropes, and what is one thing you like when a writer does, like character development, detailed setting descriptions, etc.? I like a lot of things. I like really good character development. I like really good world building. I think all of them are really essential, so it's not like one thing could be present. I forgive everything else. I might forgive it a little bit, but like you have to have at least a foundation of all those things being good and then one thing being like really great to make it like a great book. Favorite tropes. I mean, anything with like Hades, Persephone, those kind of things, like the, you know, Death and the Maiden, Beauty and the Beast type tropes, hate to love. I like experienced protagonists. Instead of having like training montages. I like a good training montage, but I prefer having experienced protagonists that's like been there, done that, knows what they're doing, so that when you have them putting up against like crazy situations, you're not like, how'd you figure that out? You're like, oh yeah, you're a badass, you know that. Who is your favorite character in the Wicca and the Divine series? All of the chthonic gods, obviously, because I am who I am, are my faves. So obviously like Persephone, duh. The Morrigan, as soon as she appeared I was like, yes, and Baphomet, like, my kids. I love all of them. The chthonic gods, I'm just like, yes, yes, these are my babies. I just love them. I love them. Those are all like the underworld gods, for you that don't know the phrase. I love them. All of them. Oh, my little trash children. Do you tend to change your mind about a book after some time? Sometimes. But right now I feel like I have leveled out. Like if I look back on books that I read when I was younger, sometimes I'll be like, ooh, is that as good as I thought it was? But nowadays, like any book that I've read recently in the last like 3 years, I'm pretty stable on my thoughts about it. Like even if I really loved it and I know it's not as good, I still really love it. It's just I'm able to critique it. So typically speaking, I don't shift a ton on it, but there are books that like I do realize when I read them that I have to sit with them a little longer to kind of get my feelings out about them. But typically speaking, I pretty much know, like, do I love it or hate it? Like, that doesn't change much. Personal question, how old were you when you had your first kiss? Just curious. I think I was in 6th grade when I had my first, like, mouth-to-mouth peck kiss. You know, 6th grade, I think. Is there a book that you think was, like, your awakening to becoming a more serious reader? I feel like The Night Circus was a book that I was so blown away by that... Not that it made me more serious, because I've always been a big reader, but it made me like really start to like analyze things about books. What were your first non-canon ships that you loved? It could be from books, TV shows, or movies. Books was obviously Hermione. It was like my original, you know, OG. I also really like Jack and Elizabeth from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. What would your dream library look like? Sliding ladder, black, white, other bookshelves, comfy chairs. Yeah, I think really comfy. I would like to have like a multiple story thing with a ladder going on, but who knows. I do like white bookshelves, but it'd be nice to also have like built-ins and like white bookshelves and have some of like the glass doors in the bottom. But like these are all like, you know, open. But I also just like, you know, it's really solid like wood. And yeah, a lot of really comfy chairs. I would also like to have like a reading nook. So like in a window, you know, like in a picture window. That'd be really awesome. Favorite fantasy world? I think the Mistborn trilogy world is amazing, and a lot of different worlds I've talked about already in this video as far as like video games and stuff. When you first started YouTube, is there anything you plan to do on your channel or goals you wanted to reach that you haven't done yet? No, like I didn't have any goals or anything. I just had like, wow, if I reach 1,000 subscribers, that'd be really cool. But I've gone to the different book events I've wanted to go to, and I've interviewed some authors that have been really cool, which is not a goal that I had, or just an unexpected thing that came up. And I've made friends, and I've achieved my goals. So anything over and above this is like crazy. If you could choose to be a Marvel hero, who would you be and why? Black Widow, because she's amazing. Future plans for this channel, or are you planning a second channel? This channel is going to keep going as it's going, and I do have a second channel. I want to do more on it, but I just haven't had the time with it. But I do have a second channel. I'll link it down below, and it's more like beauty videos slash get ready with me type stuff slash just like personal stuff, more so. So I talk about like cancer stuff on there. I talk about like overall favorites and just stuff that's not related to books necessarily. So that's there. Have you ever thought about working in the publishing slash book world? I'd love to. I wouldn't be opposed to it, definitely. It's something that I've thought about doing, but at this point it's like if I was going to get a job in there, I'd have to just go back and get like a different degree, and like I'm not about that. And what I want to do is what I want to do right now. What would be your perfect gift this Christmas? I've asked for some jewelry from Souvenir Jewelry is the company. They're really big on like Instagram and stuff, but they're so good, like witchy looking jewelry. It's all awesome. So I'm really excited to hopefully get some of that stuff and some makeup, and I'm going to ask for more books like I always do. But the jewelry is like stuff I really want this year. If you could change one thing about any book to make it better, what would it be? I don't know. It's so, that's individual for each like book, and I can't necessarily think of one book that I'm like, man, if you change just one thing, it'd be perfect. Yeah, that's a non-answer, but it's my answer. Where do you see yourself, would like to see yourself in 5 years? Hopefully working in like a oncology center for social work and stuff, and then, I don't know, am I still doing book stuff? Maybe, hopefully. I'd still like to be involved in the book world, but I don't know, about 5 years from now. I would like to be in a different area of the country, not necessarily here, but I don't see that happening in 5 years. Yeah, hopefully still like being alive and being kick-ass and like doing my thing. How is your usual process for deciding and scheduling what videos you want to make? I have a binder, or like a notebook, where I write everything down as far as like the dates of when I upload, because I always upload Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So I write everything out, and I kind of do it on a whim. I mean, I know I'm going to do like top 5 Wednesday topics usually, and then I know that whatever books I'm reading I'm going to be reviewing. So those are easy. And then my other videos are just kind of like, what do I want to talk about? What kind of topic just comes up? Is it something that's been influenced by real life, or something that's been influenced by something I was playing or watching or reading? Is there a topic that came up in a book that I want to discuss? Is something happening in the book community that I want to discuss overall that's like a book issue? Yeah, so it kind of is a very organic type thing. What booktuber that you watch do you feel is the most similar taste in novels that you do? Sarah Jane and I from The Book Life used to be like book twins for a while, but I feel like we do differ on a lot of things in the last couple of years, which is fine, obviously. So I think that person for me is Sana of Inkbones Books. She hasn't really been making booktube videos recently. She's been making videos on another channel, but especially for fantasy, we align really well, and if she doesn't like something, I'm probably not gonna like it, so I don't even bother. And if she recommends something, I'm like always adding it to my TBR. Someone said that they first found me because I was the only person they could find that was critical about the young elites. Why did you decide to do both negative and positive reviews when a lot of booktubers don't? Because I think they're important. I think that negative reviews are just as important as positive reviews, if not more so. I think that if you're just only fangirling over books, which I do as well a lot, I talk about a lot of the books that I love all the time, but if you're only talking about those books, then it doesn't really show where you are on the like spectrum of what things you love and hate. So people can't get a good idea of if your recommendations are going to mean anything to them. Like, they need both sides of the spectrum to really know how to trust your recommendations, basically. Not because you're lying about those books that you really love, but because like they need to see, okay, they really hated this book, but I really love this book, so maybe their recommendations aren't good for me. So I think you need to do both sides in order to have like a really good image of what you do and don't like on your channel, blog, whatever. Yeah, because if you don't have those things, and it's like, okay, well, I really hate love triangles, but if you're somebody who's like, I don't mind love triangles, then you're going to know that like if a book is a love triangle and I'm rating it really low, this is just an example, this is not necessarily true for me, but if it has a love triangle and I'm rating it really low, you're like, oh, I might actually like that book because she's rating it so low because of the love triangle, etc. So you gotta have both, man. Favorite game to play on your phone and favorite board game? I don't play any phone games. I used to play Marvel Puzzle Quest, which is like a Bejeweled but with Marvel thing, but I haven't played phone games in a long time. Gerald plays a ton of them, so I could ask him that question. He had like 5. But favorite board game? Oh man, I have a lot of them. I think my favorite is Legacy, which I've talked about before. If you guys want to look it up, it's a really fun. It's kind of like building a family tree, and it's set in like Regency France, which sounds really dumb, and I know it does, but it's so good. And I also really like Alchemists. I like Seven Wonders. I like Small World, although we don't own it. I like a lot of deck building games. I like Sentinels of the Multiverse. I like a lot of these games. I've mentioned a lot of these before, actually. Also like Tricurion. Tricurion is like the Night Circus almost, because you're a magician and you're competing magicians and you're building your like legacy and stuff and like performing, and it's really cool. So a lot of those games are my faves. If you were to write a contemporary book, what would it be about? I don't know. I think I would write something that was set with like a new adult character, like within that age range, because I wouldn't really want to write like a YA, you know, actual teenagers. But I don't really know what I would do. The book that I want to write is a contemporary fantasy, so I don't really want to go into it, because there's elements of that would be like contemporary book based, but I can't talk about it, man. Do you prefer long books or short for either standalones or series? Medium. I don't really prefer short books because I don't think they have enough time to get stuff done, but long books are growing on me, obviously, with me like having tome topple and stuff and like encouraging myself to read more of those big books, but they're very daunting still for me. I'm getting really better. I think this year I read a ton more books over 500 pages than I ever have in the past. So if I had to pick between short and long, it'd be longer books. If you found yourself in the Anita Blake world, what characters would you seek out and who would you want to hide from? I would seek out Jason and Micah. They're my two favorites because they're both wonderful, precious BBs, and I love them so much. I'm trying to think of who I want to hide from. I mean, if I was on like Jean-Claude's bad side, I want to hide from him, but I wouldn't want to seek him out necessarily because he does a lot of stuff that's just like, I'm trying to think of some of the villains. I mean, any of the villains in that series I want to hide from, and like especially the villain, I'm forgetting her name because it's been a long time since I read these books, but the villain that's in Las Vegas, she's creepy. She does a lot of stuff that's like too much for me. So yeah, and the big villain that started happening in later books, that villain you don't want to mess with either. What TV series are you currently watching? None currently because I'm not watching like any TV shows, but I have a lot of them that are in progress that I'm probably like, when am I ever going to finish them? I need to finish the whole Vampire Diaries series. I stopped like mid-season 5. I think I gave up on Once Upon a Time. I need to catch up on Outlander, The 100, Game of Thrones. I'm on season 5. Black Sails, I'm on like episode 4 of season 1. Lost, I'm on season 2 or 3. I never watched the show when it was originally on. Yeah, all those shows. I have a lot of shows that I'm like in the middle of and never gonna finish. I have on the last 3 episodes of Jessica Jones. I have a lot. And the last question is, how many books do you have in total? Oh, jeez. About 350. And that doesn't count arcs. I probably have about 30 arcs right now. Because arcs are kind of in flux and I like do, you know, trades and stuff for those. So, yeah, about 350 to 380. That's insane. Blah. That's a lot. So that is it for my 25,000 subscriber Q&A. Thank you guys all if you've stuck in through this very long video. Thank you guys all for all of your support. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see all of you guys soon. Bye.